So, picture this. You've just finished writing a super simple message. You've spell-checked it. Twice. You know it's totally fine. But for some completely baffling reason, you are paralyzed. You just cannot bring yourself to click that tiny little send button. We've all been there, right? It's this bizarre phenomenon that always seems to hit us at the absolute worst times, turning a totally mundane task into this giant mountain of anxiety. Well, in today's Explainer, we're diving deep into the hidden psychology of exactly why pressing send feels so strangely dangerous, and more importantly, we'll talk about what you can actually do to overcome it.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Part 1. Why you can't press send and the trap of the blinking cursor.
So, why does a completely basic message feel so dangerous? You know exactly what I mean. You need to send a totally mundane reply, something like, "Thanks, I'll check on this tomorrow." Literally, that's the whole message. It should take, what, a minute tops? But instead, it morphs into this agonizing 15-minute ordeal. You delete a word, you add it right back, you start overthinking, wait, do I sound too cold? Should I add an exclamation point? Do I need to explain more? You just get sucked right into the trap of that blinking cursor. And it is so unbelievably frustrating, mostly because all this constant tweaking and rewriting, it doesn't actually improve the message. It just makes your mental load incredibly heavy. What was supposed to be a light, quick task suddenly has you carrying the weight of a dozen different what-if scenarios that honestly are probably never going to happen.
Which brings us to part 2, how low energy amplifies small risks, or the actual mechanics of overthinking.
Right off the bat, if you struggle with this, I want to completely reframe it for you. This is absolutely not a personality flaw. You're not just bad at communication. It's actually a mechanical issue directly tied to your mental battery. A lot of folks just brush this off as overthinking, but we really need to look at it through the lens of your energy levels. See, when your mental energy is high, a tiny risk feels tiny. You hit send, boom, you move on with your day. But when your mental battery is running on empty, oh boy, your brain drastically amplifies those small risks. It literally starts treating a normal, everyday email like a final exam and a casual chat message like some high-stakes stage performance. And here's the crazy part. Your brain is actually trying to protect you. It's tricking you into thinking that delaying the email, telling you, wait, hold on, don't send it yet, let's make it safer, is somehow shielding you from this looming disaster.
Moving on to part 3, the hidden goal of perfectionism, the endless checking loop.
Because you're so mentally drained, your brain just cannot feel satisfied. So what happens? You fall right into this exhausting, endless cycle. You write, you check, you doubt yourself, and you rewrite. And instead of feeling better after you check it, your tired brain just hunts down another tiny, totally improbable problem, which of course just fuels more doubt. You are desperately trying to eliminate all of the doubt. But, and this brilliantly illustrates the real issue, look at what sending actually is. Sending means accepting a small amount of uncertainty. That's just the reality of communicating with other humans. Because the second you press that button, you lose control. Before you send it, sure, you can tweak it, you can edit it, you can protect yourself. But once it's gone, it's completely out of your hands, and you're opening yourself up to potential judgment or the chance that someone somewhere might misunderstand you. And while you're trapped in that awful checking loop, your main objective actually shifts without you even realizing it. Think about it. When you started typing, your original goal was simply to communicate a piece of information, right? Just to get the message across. But as that perfectionism takes over, your hidden goal suddenly becomes trying to feel completely 100% safe. You stop asking yourself, hey, is this clear enough? And you start asking, can I achieve absolute emotional certainty before I fire this off? Which is literally an impossible task. There's no message in the world, no matter how perfectly you word it, that can give you perfect certainty. It's this impossible pursuit of perfect safety that keeps that cursor blinking and your finger just hovering right there over the mouse.
So let's get to part 4, the solution. Review once, change once, send. Setting boundaries for your brain. All right, so how do we actually break out of this agonizing cycle? Well, the surprisingly good news here is that you don't need to completely cure your anxiety or magically feel totally confident to take action. What you actually need is a rigid boundary. You need a rule to break the loop and set your brain free. So here is a super effective, concrete, 3-step rule that you can use the next time you feel that hesitation creeping in. Step 1, review it once. Ask yourself the absolute basics. Is it clear? Is the main point in there? Good. Step 2, make one final change. Only if it's absolutely needed, mind you. Just one single change. We're not doing 5 edits, we're not doing endless polishing. And step 3, send it. This rule works like magic because it forcibly stops your brain from demanding infinite polish on a finite task. You are essentially drawing a hard line in the sand and telling your exhausted brain, nope, the reviewing is done.
To really make that three-step rule stick, you've got to keep this equation in mind. Good enough equals good enough for the purpose. Your message absolutely does not need to be perfect, it just needs to do its job. Like, if your goal is to confirm a meeting time, the message just needs to say what time the meeting is. That's it. It doesn't need to read like a flawlessly crafted piece of classic literature. A simple, clear message sent today is always going to beat a quote-unquote perfect message that just sits there trapped in your drafts folder forever. Seriously, we all have that one folder, right? The graveyard of overly crafted emails that died waiting for the perfect final sentence. Let's not let your basic replies join that graveyard.
So remember, sometimes the real task is pressing send. If you find yourself constantly struggling with this email paralysis, just remind yourself, you aren't lazy and you aren't inadequate. Your drained brain is just treating a tiny little risk like a massive threat. The goal of your workday is not zero anxiety. The goal is action, even when there's a little bit of uncertainty hanging around. So the very next time that cursor is steadily blinking at you, practically begging for just one more rewrite, what boundary are you going to set to finally press that button?